think in my show it says 2.4, but 2.3, 2.4 million is being pulled out to help balance the budget, and I'll speak more to that and kind of compiling all of the budget balancing that we've done in this.
So if those funds were not needed to balance the budget, we would have been making that payment of $5 million, give or take, whatever.
Correct. All of the money would have been going into the teeter account.
Okay. That's what I was looking for.
Nelson, I can't. I don't know which one's what. I don't know. Try that one. It's not like, no, I don't know which one it is now.
Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, to follow up on Supervisor Delbar's comments, I think that in a sense, then, we maybe have more clarity or transparency with the process, but I don't know that we've, just because now we have the independent fund number for it, and I'm referencing page A24 in the budget binder, we're really not making progress in the goal of taking it and making it its own fund number, vis-a-vis the comments that were just made in terms of, the point of putting it into its own fund was to actually keep the revenue sequestered in that fund to pay the liability. So it seems like we haven't gotten very far down that path if we're really only doing that to the tune of $200,000, which is what it's sounding like to me. So I think the point that the board was trying to make is this is a large debt that was, in a sense, of all the ones that I think Ms. Glassy was very good at sort of uncovering over the last 3 years. This one probably had the least transparency and the least that it was addressed least in the board and the executive office's determination to sort of uncover debt and make reasonable attempts to rectify those situations and get on a repayment plan. So it seems that once again we've gone to the convenient option of the teeter, even though now it's standing alone and it's a little bit more obvious. So I think we shouldn't go over, I think we need to still pay attention to that in the discussion and be as transparent about, if we're doing that we're doing it, and see it for what it is and not have it sort of get brushed under the rug. So I hope that you'll go into details on that, and I have real concerns that we're doing what we have been doing in the past, and it's gotten us to the position that we're in today.
My response to that is, yes, we are being very transparent about it, and sometimes painfully so. So are there other discussions, or can
Supervisor.
Just a closing statement on a teeter plan. That was why my opening statements this morning were about, instead of just playing with this teeter plan issue, why don't we fix it forever and put it to rest with some sort of a financing, either it's on its own or combined with other COP. But let's fix the problem. Let's just don't quit playing with the jalopy. Let's fix it and get done with it. This is the second year here that we've been wrangling with it, and we're just kind of working around the edges. Let's set up a payment plan to where on its own, give it a separate budget unit or separate loan number, whatever, and deal with it.
Okay. I'll respond to that when I get to that point. I know that we want to move swiftly here, so there are some slides that are here for reference purposes, but I'm not planning to go over every slide, and so I wanted to make sure that you knew that. The theme here is a beach, and in looking at building a budget, one of the things that I did want to say is that sometimes it seems like you are building a budget on sand, and all of that entails. But the other thing is that we now have, despite the last 4 budgets each being under a different CEO, you do have a team within the executive office that has met with the departments 4 years in a row and has a pretty good sense. And so I want to support what Tom was saying in terms of the budgets are very lean budgets because we have 4 years of looking at them, and if there was anything that could be cut that wasn't going to cut into core services, that has been identified. Designing a budget, you're aware of all of these issues, and so I'm not going to go over it, but that is referenced for the public. So, looking at the priorities, what I wanted to do was to indicate to you how each of these priorities has been dealt with in the budget, and you have the opportunity to note those down if you wish. So, these are priorities that continued from 2006-07. So in the area of justice facilities planning, we are completing our feasibility study, and whatever funds weren't expended this year will be encumbered and finished out next year. There is no new appropriation in this particular arena. We do owe the board a presentation on financing options for justice facilities. So that to us is the next step, is coming to the board with that presentation on financing options and reporting out where we are and what the next steps would be once we determine what financing is appropriate. So that's how we're dealing with the justice facilities priority. I would also tie that into, though, the discussion this morning about facilities for probation. They are one of the departments that would be covered by our planning in that regard, and we're very aware that they will need new facilities.
Supervisor Colfax.
Not to put too fine a point in all of this, I know it's summary, but I don't notice that the Mendocino Town Plan is there with the UVAP, the General Plan and Housing, nor is the Coastal Plan revision. Is that going to be done in this?
That's on the next
slide. Are you going to
slide.
surprise me with having it all done by
Right. No, it's
end of the month?
It's on the next slide, and I was going to address it at that point.
Okay, go ahead.
So going on to the next one, Ukiah Valley Area Plan, General Plan, and the housing element, those are the priorities carried over from 2006-07, and we have approximately $400,000 in contracts budgeted, and that should close out the Ukiah Valley Area Plan and the General Plan update in this next fiscal year, and the preparation of the next housing element, most of which is going to be done in-house. So that's that priority. On the Mill Creek Dams project, $160,000 is budgeted as part of the water agency budget, and there is $500,000 that has been placed in the contingency fund that comes from, or is anticipated to come from, the insurance reimbursement and would be available for further Mill Creek Dams remediation. The finance system implementation, there's $150,000 budgeted to continue paying off that system. And then in terms of PEG funding, which is public education and government television, that is continuing a priority that was established several years ago, and we have approximately $100,000 in capital and operating expenses budgeted and distributed countywide. The mental health services to the jail might not have been identified as such, but I think you've already asked questions about